You're now listening to Design with Vivian Toh.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on the 4th episode of Design. I'm Vivian Toh. Now this evening we have a very interesting guest with me tonight, and we will be talking about insights and highlights on fashion and what it is far more than just a material world. This evening we have Puan Futom Shikh Jaafar from the Malaysia Design Council, aka Majlis Rekabentuk Malaysia, MRM, and we also have Zainal, the fashion maestro of Malaysia, who also writes a book. Later on he will talk to us about the book, and we also have his fashion muse, Raj Aria, who seems to be really good in hosting, but in his background he is from the banking industry. We will also hear from him how he actually got involved in fashion as well. Now, tonight, let's have Bon to kickstart the conversation. Good evening, Bon.
Hi,
good evening, Puan, and good evening to Raj. Now, Bon, what do you have to say about the insights, or let's just talk about highlights on fashion? What are you busy with recently? I see that you are in the media a lot. What's actually running in your mind?
Well, fashion is about people about fashion, about a glamorous thing, about being there, rubbing shoulders with people, all that. But then again, I must say, fashion is something which is something from the heart, you know. And then being a Malaysian, I think we should realize that we Malaysian, we are creative. We coming from creative base basically. Okay. And yes, the industry now is growing. I can see now. I mean, in fact, sometimes too fast. Okay, and then again, we should look more into the industry as a whole. To me, it's become a commodity. I mean, it should be something that is money making, instead of just being glamour, being seen in with the virtual world now. With the Instagram and social media now. So people should look into. I mean, in fact, the government should look into this as a commodity for the industry. Yeah.
It should have always been a commodity since the way back then.
Yes, it is.
Well, I have recently written an article for a Hong Kong publication, and also talk about the future of design in the next 5 years. And what I find about this landscape in Malaysia is that we have always been known as a country that trades a lot, manufactures things a lot, and we actually have the natural resources. What we don't realize is that we are full of talent, and if this talent know how to make use of the natural resources in Malaysia, I mean, we will be a really cool country.
Yeah, we are cool, of course.
With you, Mr. Bon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, even certain all the big brands in the world, most of it are produced here. In Malaysia, and then people didn't know that. I remember last time when I was studying way back in the 80s, okay, and I used to work in one of the brand, and then one of a simple t-shirt cost about $385 US, and I said, but it's made in Malaysia, So again, we should look into this deeply now. It's about time. Basically.
So my question to Raj now, it's about Buatan Malaysia, made in Malaysia, and now Raj, you are actually wearing a Buatan Malaysia suit, menswear, designed by Bon. How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel great actually, because we always say that sometimes it's all about substance. It's about what you are inside. But the interesting thing is people make perception in terms of what they see externally. So it's very important to look the part as well, because people will then say, hey, he looks the part, but the question next they're going to ask is, does he have the substance? In most cases, for me being in this industry, is first impressions is very, very crucial. So we talk about grooming, we talk about fashion sense and all that. And I think maybe Malaysians in the past took it for granted. We say, it's not really that important. We wear whatever, it's available, whatever that looks okay, convenience. But failing to realize that it actually can make a difference in the bigger scheme of things. Because remember, people are always looking at you. People are always judging you. Whether you admit it or not, they are always observing you. And if you look good, perception can be vastly different from if you look otherwise.
When actually that you discover that image is really important?
As you mentioned, I used to come from the banking line. So very simple. You put on a long sleeve shirt, you put on your slacks, you put on a tie. That's it. But when I did the transition to entertainment and media a couple of years back, it actually changed my perception, because I never really thought much about it, but people are, as I mentioned just now, always judging you. Now, fashion is very important to each person because it actually defines you in some sense in terms of what you wear, how you groom yourself, and that is actually your unique characteristic, a differentiation from the next person out there. So at the end of the day, you want to give your very best. So some people who are very intelligent have a lot to offer internally, but perception-wise from the outside, if you don't look the part, people will already be pigeonholing you. Maybe, because he dressed so shabbily, he must not be maybe well-educated. He's not well-groomed. He may not be highly intellectual. So all kinds of perceptions can come in. So what I'm looking at is in terms of the full package, the holistic perspective, whereby you look good outside, and that will give you a chance to for other people to see that does he have substance, and if you have the substance, that's it, you got it made.
Well, I believe Puan is specialized in menswear designing, and definitely there is an importance in dressing well and impeccable. What do you have to say about that?
And again, people judge you. Okay. And just to add up, I do focus on men, but yes, I do focus on ladies as well.
Okay.
Okay, because fashion is at both. It took both ways and all that. Perception. Again, one thing I would say: support local brand.
Okay.
Okay, you must
Go
and
support.
And then again, people like things. I mean, everybody, male, female, we like things that look good. You know, I mean, even like dressing up every morning when female, when we wake up in the morning, when we dress up, some a bit or rather we impress the opposite sex. I mean, some or other we do that. You know, I mean, be it your
The opposite
co-worker,
attracts, that law of
be it your
attraction.
co-worker, your colleague, your parents, your mom, your dad. I mean, these are the things. Go back again to the industry, fashion. I mean, on our part, we make things look good. Our job is to make people look good. It's a most honorable a job to me, basically, you know that. You see? Yeah.
Puan Futom. Now, Raj was mentioning that he came from the background of banking, right? And what else, Raj?
Banking and finance, then did
banking
a
and
transition
finance.
to entertainment and media, yes.
Puan, I think you do also have an interesting story. Would you mind to share with us your how did you the jump from that background to what you are today, a senior general manager of MRM?
Yeah, every time I speak about the jump, I suppose in other countries they're not really surprised, but in Malaysia they're quite surprised because when they ask me what my basic degree was, biochemistry, then they say, okay, wow. So what are you doing in design now? But it's just not about what you have studied. It's what you see happening in the country and in other countries, how the other countries have managed to bring up design as one of the commodity in their country. And in Malaysia, I agree what Bon has just said just now, that we come from a very long history of creative people way back, you know, when the Malays and the Thais, some Thais, kacukan they call it, and we have some influence of Arabs, influence of Indonesians, and from there we know that our people are very creative people, and looking at the transformation, everybody is speaking about transformation. Design is just no more about doing it at home and only for you and your neighbors, but we are looking at how to commercialize it really, really well. Like Bon, for example. Probably he can have his own line of clothing now and mass produce it and creating that brand equivalent to like Prada or something like that. But this is where we want to go.
There must be some kind of recipe that Bon is really following through. We were outside the studio just now. We were listening to Bon say that he did not really take up fashion design as a course, but it's a combination of fashion and marketing. Bon, would you like to touch on that furthermore?
Okay. Let's talk about vocation here in Malaysia. Okay, we have a lot of fashion college which focus more on fashion design. So fashion design, we focus on one thing, But for me, I mean, even I remember one time when I left for States, I mean, I told my parents I want to take fashion marketing. They be like, huh? You know, is that? I mean, people's like, you know, I mean, 20 years ago.
Why do you
know
have
what
to
I mean?
go overseas to study fashion?
But then again, in fashion marketing, you learn everything about the whole industry. From accounting, management, PR, you know, even fashion broadcasting, fashion media, and all that. I mean, so the whole works, you know, and of course it relates communication, you know. So fashion communicate. I mean, what you wear, what you portray, is you communicate with others. So these are the things we should look into, basically, you know. And then for me now, basically now I can fully say I'm like a walking billboard, you know, for my brand, you know. And if you notice, in overseas, even some designers, they go beyond fashion. Some even produce car upholstery, even some produce household utensils and all that. You know, these are it's about branding. So these are the things that we should focus. Like Puan Futom said, it's more to make it commercialize this thing, all that. And yes, we are creative based, and I believe, you know, we can go further from now. I mean, like it takes guts to do it, but then again, we are already into it. You know?
What I find every time when I'm in a conversation with someone creative, always there's something that crops up in the conversation, which is the issues of education, the lack of possible the designers or students are being trained in skills, but not on communication that much. So there's always a conversation about education, and it is important. Just when I was at the World Innovation Forum, listening to Mr. Göran Persson, the ex-Prime Minister of Sweden, he was saying that imagination is the for children is the energy. Like it gives you the brain power to think a lot of things, and education is really important in that sense. But then let's not forget that communication is also important. Now, Raj, being a TV host, you definitely know the art of networking, right? How would this, from your point of view, it will help creative person to flourish in their career?
I think that's something which is very, very important. Now, as we all know, some designers are very good at what they do, but that's on the technical side, the vocational aspects. But the world has changed. Now they're looking at, in terms of the holistic package, that means an overall point of view. It's a bit pointless to come up with fantastic designs if you're not able to network, you're not able to market it well, you're not able to come up with a proposal in order to get the financing, to mass produce it, to share it with the world. So if that part is lacking, you're still stuck at square one. So you're right about education. We should look in terms of entrepreneurship. You know, it's not just one-dimensional, focusing on the technical aspects, but you have to look at it from other aspects as well. Now, some people, they are very good at what they do. They say, look, the business parts is totally alien to me. That's fine. What you need to do then is to find someone who complements you, who can handle all the business aspects while you focus on the designing, the innovation, the creative side, and then you come together. That's when your product or your service or your designs can flourish and then hopefully can reach out to the global market, because we live in the internet age nowadays. You have you got the World Wide Web, you got the internet, and basically the world is your oyster today.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we will talk more about the fashion right here on Designed on Bernama Radio 24. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Designed on Bernama Radio 24. I'm Vivian Toh, and earlier on we had Zainal Raj Aria and Puan Futom talking passionately about the state of the fashion industry in Malaysia. Raj talked about how important networking is. Puan talked about how being very outspoken is important to the career of a fashion designer. Puan also talked about a very interesting aspect from the government point of view. Now, I have a question that I want to address to the three of you. Now, earlier on, you mentioned that fundamentals, there are fundamentals that are important for design. Now, what are the fundamentals? Yes, Puan Futom?
Okay, talking about fundamentals, I think the first thing that we want to see is whether the people who wants to study design, who are passionate about design, passion alone, yes, it's good for them to kickstart it, but we want to also look at the the place where people can go and study design, from scratch. And what other opportunities, or whether they have choices to choose which school to go to study design. And each school will want to show why students should come to their universities or colleges to study design. We want to make sure that students are not shortchanged. When they go to study design, they will be really taught the curriculum, the syllabus, and at the end of the day, we want to know that these students can actually go out there and do their practical in industry, who respect the students that is being produced by the universities and not just use them as cheap labor. I think we want to be very careful looking at all the various higher learning institutes. That's what we are concerned about. I think that for the time being, this is what I'm quite concerned about.
Okay. Now, we are on the topic of fashion, and definitely when we talk about training, well, fashion designers get their training very differently, and it's really entirely what happens is backstage. Now, Bon, actually, what happens in the backstage?
Okay. Just to add up, I also lecture fashion marketing in some various colleges in this country and all that. Let's talk about backstaging. Okay, imagine for us to prepare just for that 5-minute runway show took us about a few months to do it. And then again, the perception of people going to fashion education or fashion industry, it's all about glamour. Okay, and which is not basically. In fact, to me, glamour is tiring. Okay, and again, yes, I agree with Futom. You have to get a proper training ground. Yeah? Proper training ground for fashion student, in which I think the authority should look into this to get a proper trainers, a proper guideline, and then even a proper base. Because again, the perception here in this kind of fashion is about glamour. Even parents, okay, when they send their son or daughters to college, to a fashion college, in their mind it's like, oh, my son gonna be a fashion designer. Oh, I want to be seen in a magazine and blah blah blah, so on. To me, I mean, it's not just that. Even like I always, being heading one of fashion association in this country, sometimes I dare some of my designers, when you put in your collection on the runway, I mean, I want to see half of it to sell. Like I can proudly say even on my personal experience, when I put in say 10-15 collection, after the show, half of it sold. That is fashion.
Can you tell us a bit more about your association that you are now?
Well, I'm heading one of the association in this country, which is called BDA, Bumiputera Designers Association, and we have a few more. We have MODA, Malaysia Official Design Association, and we have IFF, which is International Islamic Fashion Association, and we do have the other one is YODA, Young Designer Association. This, we are active. These people are active, but then again, at times we need a proper guideline. Even for my recent interview with other media and all that, even we asking ourselves in which ministry that we are fall onto and all that. We didn't know that, so we need that. We need the government to look into this. Then we can go further.
Puan, you are smiling now. Perhaps you have some perspective to it. So where does fashion industry fall?
It's like we have parents, basically, you know what I mean?
Well, it's sometimes I'm so sorry I have to say this. Sometimes we don't even know which ministry we should fall in because of the most colorful industry. I think is when you mention design. we're not talking only about fashion design. We're talking about industrial design, graphic design, interior design, and all. And if you want to put it in any one industry, I think it's quite a bit of headache to actually pinpoint which is the best in ministry that we should fall into. And I suppose the challenge goes on. You know, we need to look at it, but MRM itself, Majlis Rekabentuk Malaysia itself, when it was set up way back in 1993, we are under the Ministry of Science Technology. Then it was Environment. Now it's Ministry Science and Technology in Innovation, which is MOSTI. So we are there now, born. So because MRM, we want, of course, we need to work with all walks of design fraternity. So I'm so sorry, Bon, you're stuck with us in MOSTI at the moment. I think it's interesting to look again which ministry best suit what kind of design fraternity. But hopefully for us to be strong, I think design need to come in as a collective group.
While we wait for the ministries to sort things out, well, on the ground, there are many people, fashion designers. Let's talk about fashion designers. They are really moving forward in their business or whatever they are doing. But Puan, you were telling us you mentioned 4 fashion design associations out there.
Yeah.
Why are there so many associations as opposed to one?
Well, basically, it's come from like, for instance, like on my side, it's more towards fashion. We have let me put it this way. I want to add up what Futom said. I want to go to fashion. Okay, fashion. There's money involved, which involve Ministry of the Keuangan. Okay, finance. There's science into fashion as well.
Okay.
There's creative side, and there's also in terms of community. You know what I mean? So fashion involves everything. So when it comes to there's so many. I mean, you asked me about association because there's a lot of us here in this country. I mean, I think we have thousands of us. So to handle one, I mean, it's not easy because one thing, fashion people, they are very sensitive. They work from the heart, you know. So it takes certain people, it takes certain individuals to handle certain things. But then again, even though we are separated, but we are combined together as a whole. You know what I mean? So these are the things. It sounds silly, but this how it works basically. You know. So I mean, even IFF is focused more on towards Muslimah fashion. Okay, whereas YDA Young Yoda is more to the young designers. Okay, Moda, which is Moda is the longest. They start way back, I think nearly about 30 years ago. You know, so like BDA is more towards the Malays. But even though, but again, we still combine. I can share it. Recently, we have a trip. We sent a few trips combined or 4 sessions. We went to Philippines, Manila, to attend for their fashion event there. Hey, the response was like awesome. You know, we got buyers coming in, we got a response. You know, so these are so meant to say like even though we are separated, we are together as a whole. You know,
what makes it interesting to have crossovers from one country and another?
Again, exchange ideas, exploring new markets, and all that, and then of course, getting to know. Like again, fashion. I mean, to me, even we are here. 6 of us here. Everybody here is fashion. You know, so we need to be. Have to broaden our horizon throughout. I mean, not just in the Asia region. I mean throughout. To me, the whole world basically. Yeah.
Puan, so fashion industry actually really falls under the umbrella of MRM as well. Do you think?
Yes,
it is now.
Yes, it is now.
Great. So then, Raj, you probably have been in contact with fashion designers. How did they involve? How did you and Bon get together?
Well, it's very interesting. As we all know, fashion, entertainment, media all overlaps a great deal, and the scene is very small. You know, you normally see the usual suspects, and of course, as we all say, networking, building relationships, communication skills, interpersonal skills is so crucial whenever you are involved, whatever. Not necessarily just in this industry, in any industry as well. So, of course, once you build that relationship, then you will talk about taking it to the next level. And of course, he is from the fashion line, I'm from the media, TV, entertainment side. So there is considerable overlap. So for me, it's also very important to look the part in this industry because it's a very visual industry as well. So attending events, functions, you have to create that right kind of image, that right kind of brand, which is so crucial in terms of positioning yourself out there. So like I mentioned earlier, externally and internally has to be congruent at the end of the day. And with regards to Bond's fashion wear, this is something I have to say. Sometimes we have this perception that it needs to be a foreign brand. It has to be an American brand, a European brand. People are very brand conscious, especially in Asia. I think we have to change that misconception that sometimes even made in Malaysia could be up there with the best. In fact, if you were to wear some of the designs which we have abroad, they'll be thinking, is it from some famous or well-known fashion label? But actually, no, it's from a particular label in Malaysia. And I think they'll be quite surprised to hear that. So sometimes we have to move away from that and just look at it in its own right. If it looks good, stop there. Why need to worry about where it's from and what not? If the quality is there, the design is there, the cut is there, if you look good, fantastic. And that should basically impress anyone who wants
media and fashion seem to connect pretty much very well because, the media people will have to look good. They have to look good, and fashion design also have to depend or count on the media to also for cross collaboration, so both win. Now, Raj, so do you think the media is promoting the fashion industry in the right way, or is it promoting enough?
Very, very good question. Now, we all know media exists by creating exposure, awareness, information, news. Now, the difficulty we're facing in Malaysia is, as Bond mentioned just now, when you think of fashion, it's all about glam. It's all about hype. It's all about the razzmatazz. But they don't realize is that fashion is actually big business, especially overseas. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry out there. And it is up there with the biggest and the best. But the misconception in Malaysia, it's all just like fun. You see fashion runway, glam, excitement, but that's it. But we have to change that perception whereby we can actually grow this, and that's where the government hopefully will play a part in terms of growing this industry, looking in terms from dollars and cents, not just merely from the hype, not just looking in terms of the positioning and the external bits about it. So if we can take it to the next level, change the media's perception with the involvement of the government, in fact, with the involvement of all the stakeholders at the end of the day, then who knows? We don't even have to look in terms of Malaysia. We can look at Southeast Asia, and the world. I mean, one classic example, Jimmy Choo. He's born and bred Malaysian, and look at his shoes. That's why his shoes are known worldwide. Why should we just stop at shoes? Why not men's fashion? Why not women's fashion? Why can't we be up there with the best of them around the world?
Now, we're talking about media perception. Media creates things that influence how people view things. And now, Puan, you're talking about fashion it comes from the heart. It's not about the glam. But the media is projecting it as something that's glam. Do you feel? Well, how do you feel about it? You come from an area that is all about the heart, but media is talking about the glam.
Okay, let me add up a bit what Raj. Fashion isn't just media. Everybody says fashion. Okay, if you notice, even on TV, even what we are now, it's all fashion. What we are wearing, what we are communicating, all that. Okay, and then when you talk about what I'm trying to say, creative people, they are sensitive. They want the some sort like it's not pampered, but being taken care of. So again, we have to let's talk about designing. When I design something, it takes me some time to not just simply just scribble something. It must be something which is something that represent. Who gonna wear my creation? Is it gonna be on TV? Is it some celebrity gonna wear it? For what occasion? Like I always say, when to wear, what to wear, how to wear, who to wear, and the other one is like how much. So it's a whole thing. In fact, now what we are here in this room, It's all fashion, from the tudung wearing, from Futom wearing, from the jacket, from the blouse. It's all about fashion, basically.
Now hijab is really in.
It is now.
So popular
That's
now.
the thing. Yes, it's fashion. Hijab, Muslimah, everything is about fashion. What we do, even the glasses you're wearing now is fashion, basically. So hey, come on, look into this deeply now.
So is the media capturing the essence, Raj?
Not as well as it could. Because end of the day, look, the thing about media, to be honest, is about sensationalism at the end of the day. You want something razzmatazz, you want something hot, exciting, then people will read. If it's dull, boring, monotonous, then, people maybe get turned off, or they may not be as, as receptive to the idea. Now, we know with regards to fashion, it's something which actually goes along the line, but we should look beyond that at the end of the day as well. So yeah, there's still room for improvement. Let's put it that way.
I still can't get away from the idea that Bond said fashion is from the heart. Then the media say you need razzmatazz and things like that. So then, now Bond, you sometimes if you have to work with the media, then you have to create something that can be commercialized or become a popular culture. Then how does it work for you?
Well, again, go back to the heart. When something which is being hyped, for instance, like when I design something, suddenly media put it, to the hype level of that. Hey, I think the heart's going to be happy. You know what I mean? So from there, you create awareness, you create demand, you create what I call this, people will compliment you and all that. So it goes back. So that's what I mean from the heart, because to create something, it's not just scribble here and there. It takes guts. Like for instance, you see like now now there's a lot of things going on in terms of TV. There's awards program, even there some TV, even fashion. Even just now we are into this supermodel thing going on, because it's always when it comes to fashion where we represent something there in terms of the outlook. That means that's what I mean. And yes, again, it's from the heart.
Okay. Well, okay. I am now convinced by Bond or what you have to say. Now, you talk about coming from the heart. That means that there's people, the aspiring fashion designers also have to be nurtured from the very beginning at a very young age. Now, Puan Futom, you are a person who likes to support the young ones. So, what are your plans for MRM in the future in terms of supporting the young ones?
We are now embarking on promoting our young designers, through our collaboration with our international partners all over the world. And we have already started with the industrial designers, the graphic designers as well. And coming up will be, of course, fashion designers. We saw that this opportunity will be very timely, and what Raj said about promoting our designers, telling the world how good we are, probably we can also use the same formula that Datuk Jimmy Chua did. And maybe Datuk Jimmy Chua had it made with the late Prince Diana, designing her shoes. And why not probably Bond designing Kate Middleton's wear? And people look at this. People look at these figures. So, Bond, take my challenge, go and do it. You'll be a star, but everybody will know. Okay, Bond Zainal from Malaysia. What else do you want?
But the story of Jimmy Choo is actually by chance or by luck. The story I heard is that he was just selling his footwear at some place, and late Princess Diana spotted his shoes, and then he got famous instantly after that. But then if Bond were to approach Kate Middleton, that is really, you really have to have the heart and be bold enough to go look out for Kate Middleton, right? So, but Bond, have you been designing for royalties?
Yes and no. Basically, to me, I'm I'm more into the open market, basically.
Okay.
Well, just to let you know, I did design for some of, basically, I don't say high-flying actor or actress in Hollywood, basically. There are some that do wear my things, but in basically, it's more like a subtle way and all that. And yes, that's one of my dreams from Futom and all that. But of course, well, I don't say Kate Middleton. I would like to dress James Bond, basically. You know, it rhymes with my name. All that.
Oh, that reminds me of your
Yes.
name, Bond.
Yes, that's
Is
the thing.
that a real name?
Yeah, it is my real name. So IC name, yes. And okay, then again, in fact, surprisingly, if you notice, some of our locals and they did do something abroad. Even yesterday, one of them went to Doha now to do some shows now. Even a few, one of our BA designers, being invited by to Russia to do a private show to one of these czar, you know, a private thing when there's no photography, nothing, all that. So things are going on, but as yet we need the support here commercially. You know, I mean, they're being called there, supported by them. You know, why not something here that support here to go abroad? So these are things that we need to nurture. We need the support. We need people to. I mean, again, people here to, hey, come on, let's do something here. Bring it out there. You know, so
You told me the other day that you were in the middle of writing a book.
okay, yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? I'm
Yeah,
interested to
basically
find out
it's one of
where is
my,
this book going.
okay, I can say one of my wish list or bucket list, basically. You know that, you know. Bucket list, you know. Now the book is more towards again, it's more like edu fashion thing. I call it edu fashion. It's more to educate, because again and like for instance, the young ones, to educate the young ones, because most young ones now they think about fashion, about glamour, about designing for actresses or actor or actresses and all. But for me, I want to go to more to we call it a fashion basic 101. I mean, we have to know where it come from. I mean, so in terms of, for my, we're going to call it Born Designer Guide to Mass Dressing or Malaysian Dressing, all that, to let people realize about dressing, how important is dressing. You know, how to, the way to, and all that. You know, it was even simple as how to wear your tie. You know, the size and the color you choose, and all that. You know, so these are the things that we are lack of, basically. So we need to put our foot on the ground. You know, to educate, and to go to the next level. Yeah.
Let's have our last question for this evening. We would definitely like to hear from each and every one of you. What would be your message that you want to send out to the fashion designers out there, regardless whether they are studying to be one or they're aspiring or they are already established fashion designers? Let's start with Raj.
Well, it's very simple. Follow your passion, which is the most important thing. As what Bon said, it comes from the heart. But similarly as well, they shouldn't look at it from a one-dimensional point of view. Not just from the technical aspects, the designing aspects. Nowadays, you have to look at it from a holistic point of view. Business, marketing, communication, bringing your brand worldwide, you know, rather than just thinking about being a jago kampong, you should think the world is your oyster, and basically perseverance, dedication, and of course, hard work. There's no easy ride, whatever you do in life. Totally, that's right. No easy ride. If you persevere, who knows? You could be the next Dato' Jimmy Choo.
Yeah, never give up.
Never give up.
Yes.
That's right.
Boy.
And for me, instead of just focusing out, focus in now. Know your strength. You know, I mean, focus. Know your strength. Know your brand. I mean, know what you can do. You know, and again, go further. And then, there's no holds bar there. I mean, like I said again, this industry is the best industry in the world, because you know why? This is time that you can get to dress people. You can get to be in the best event, rub shoulders with all the creme de la creme and all that. And the best part, you can make money out of it. So again, focus in, and then and go out as much as you can. Yeah.
That's almost similar to like don't think out of the box, but think inside you. How can you be a better designer?
Yes.
And then you'll be able to
learn. Yeah.
Great advice. Puan Futom.
I will go for honesty. You do it because you love it. You're sincere about it. And yes, of course, the financial part must come in. At the end of the day, somebody has to put food on the table. But do not shortchange, as I said earlier on. Don't step on others. So just because you want to go up there. That's all my advice to them.
Well, when you are up there, then you also have to know how to sustain your position up there.
Exactly. And they have to be very, very practical. And the word innovation is everywhere now. Sometimes it's being abused too much, but I still say that you must keep on transforming and transforming and transforming. Do not stay, do not be too laid back. That's all.
Well, there you go. The highlights on fashion from Puan Futom Shikh Jaafar, Bon Zainal and Raj Aria. Highlights on fashion and why it is far more than just a material world, but it's more about the heart and the soul. Nothing glamorous about it, because remember, of all the effort you put in for the past, for probably a few months, you're only gonna have a glamorous life for that mere 5 minutes. Thank you to three of you. Thank you, Raj, Bon, and Puan. Well, we have actually come to the end of the show, but before we end it, I have actually a few announcements to make. That now we are on fashion now, and there is one exciting, interesting batik art exhibition that is happening right now at the Malaysia Tourism Centre called the Flora and Fauna Explorations Through Batik. The coming is actually a collaboration of exhibition on batik art by Khalid Shamsuddin and Pujita Menon. Both are passionate about batik art. And also not to be missed is the Urbanscapes Festival, which is going to be the one of the biggest event that's happening next week on November 23rd and 24th. If you like fashion, there's plenty of things to see, especially people. You got to see how the young people dress these days and whether this is going to push the fashion industry forward, because these people are really young. I do urge Puan Futom, if you have the time, you got to visit this Urbanscapes, also to bond, see out, find what these youngsters are doing. Now, also is that we are for Designed radio show, we are going to have a special Malay edition of this show next week on the 21st November, whereby we are going to talk, whereby I will be speaking in person with some of the non-music acts from Malaysia. These people are either artists, architects. I do not know yet who they are. It's going to be interesting. On the 21st November, on Thursday at 5:15 in the evening. So we have come to the end of Design for this evening. I feel very grateful to have three guests with me today, this evening. It's been quite an interesting highlight of the fashion industry. Now, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have missed the first beginning of the show, do remember to always get back to our website, that is cutoutmac.com/design, to find the audio files and snippets on whatever that you want on Design Radio Show. Now, these snippets are produced by Motion Fixo, the Ideas Agency. This episode is brought to you by Malaysia Design Council, MRM. On that note, I'm Vivian Toh. I will see you next week. This is Designed on Bernama Radio 24.